What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cars, Costs, and Technology. In today's video, we're going to be diving deep into the settings of a 2020 C8 Corvette to show you how to unleash the full power of the car, have full access to the power without the limitations and restrictions put on it by the driver assistance software programs that come on the car by default. Now, before we talk about removing these or limiting the interference from these programs, I want to make sure everyone understands that these are put in place to keep you safe and protect you. Definitely don't try altering these settings or any of the modes we're going to talk about in this video, unless if you're at a track and you have plenty of years of experience driving a sports car. These cars have a lot of power and things can get out of control really quickly, guys. So stay safe. Make sure if you're going to try these, you're on a closed course, you have plenty of experience, and know exactly what you're in for. Wouldn't want anyone to get hurt or damage their C8s in the process of trying out some settings and accessing the more untamed or raw experience of the C8 Corvette. I also want to give a huge thanks to my buddy Zach from Corvette Direct for allowing me to spend the day reviewing and testing out his car. This is the car we're going to be using for the examples in this video. So I'm sure by this point we're all pretty familiar with the different drive modes available on the C8 Corvette, as many of them have carried over from the C7 Corvette generation. You've got modes like Weather, Tour, Sport, Track, and now you've got the addition of My Mode. You've also got Z Mode. My Mode is going to give you the ability to sort of customize the things that you like, but remove the things that you dislike from other modes. I think that's a really cool feature. I'm looking forward to tailoring that to my specific car. Z Mode is going to give you access to more performance-oriented driving, but I want to focus more on Sport and Track mode for this video because obviously we're talking about unlocking the car, getting the full potential out when you're taking the car to the track. Now, I do want to mention, because I haven't heard much about this, and it is mentioned in the owner's manual, that if you do plan on tracking the car, they suggest that you add an additional 2 quarts of fluid to the dual clutch transmission. So I would definitely speak with your dealership or your technician at the dealership about doing that if you're planning on tracking the car. It's also not required that you drain the additional fluid after your track event, so it could be a good thing to do if you plan on tracking the car. Let's talk about the different modes and settings that you're going to want to use to get the full power out of your car and make sure that it's tailored to what type of driving you'll be doing. And first, we need to discuss the 2 ongoing driver assistance softwares that are going to be on by default that could interfere with your track driving, and that's going to be traction control and stability control. Now, they do both try to accomplish the same goal, which is to keep you safe from losing control, but they do it completely differently. So in traction control, that system is going to be monitoring rear wheel spin, and it can limit that by reducing engine power and applying brakes to help keep the rear wheels connected. So obviously, if you're trying to do a burnout, that's going to interfere and stop it. Pretty self-explanatory there. Now, when you're talking about stability control, that's also monitoring wheel spin, but it's more monitoring all 4 wheels in the trajectory. Make sure that you're not either understeering, oversteering. You can see where this would definitely interfere when you're doing something like drifting or trying to do a donut. At this point, stability control will go crazy, and it can actually apply the brakes to any one of the given 4 wheels to help prevent the car from losing control. So these 2 systems sort of work together to keep the car in control, and they do run by default over top of any of the modes. So even if you're in sport mode or track mode, these are always on. Now you can turn them off, and basically we're going to discuss why you maybe should consider an alternate route if you want to get more out of the car. But in order to turn these off, you can go to the traction control button right near the mode selector, and basically a single press is going to turn off just your traction control system. So again, that's going to be a system monitoring only the rear wheels, give you access for the rear wheels to break loose a little bit more, but still have stability control on. Now, if you want stability control off as well, whatever you're trying to do where you want the entire systems to be turned off, you're going to long press the traction control button, and that's going to turn off not only traction control, but also stability control. At this point, especially if you're in track mode, this should be basically the most unrestricted, untamed version of the C8 Corvette. At this point, again, in track mode, with both of these turned off, there shouldn't be any interference from these driver assistance softwares. I would still think somewhere in the car's brain, so to speak, there's algorithms that will interfere if things seem to be going catastrophically wrong, but I don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't want to put that to the test. But again, with these 2 off, that's where you're at. And that's, again, accessing the full power of the car, having no restrictions. Now, this isn't really recommended, and you could actually increase your lap times and be a better overall track driver or better times at the drag strip, whatever you want to call it, by utilizing a different menu, which is sort of hidden in track or sport mode, and that's going to be either competitive driving mode or performance traction management. Now, these are great because rather than just turning off stability control or turning off traction control, they give you the ability to customize how much they interfere for the track settings, for your driving experience, and so on. So these are really important, and this is actually what I'm sure GM and myself would recommend if you're going to the track rather than just turning it all off. And I want to talk first about performance traction management because this is only available for cars equipped with MagRide, which the car that I'm using for demonstration purposes does have magnetic ride control. So when you're in track mode, you're able to click the traction control button twice quickly. Now, again, I know it's sort of confusing all the different steps here, whether it's a single press, long press, click it twice. But again, to recap, single press will turn off just traction control. Press and hold will turn off traction control and stability control. In track mode, if you press it twice quickly, you will open up the performance traction management window. Now, within this window, you're going to have 5 different settings available to you, and you can basically scroll through these using the mode selector, just like as if you were scrolling through track, sport mode, as you normally would. And basically within these different options, they're pretty self-explanatory, but ESC on obviously is going to stand for electronic stability control on. So the first is going to be wet with ESC on, so obviously for wet track conditions. Dry with ESC on, so dry track conditions is going to limit or interfere less, but still give you some interference from the electronic stability control. Then you've got Sport 1, which is going to be for your average driver or intermediate driver that's wants less interference, more of a sporty driving, but still have some interference from the stability control if things get out of control. Then you've got Sport 2, which is going to turn off stability control, or Race, which is also going to have stability control off. These are going to be more of the completely unrestricted modes, going to be more of a similar experience to what you would have with traction control and stability control turned all the way off. But it's accessible through this performance traction management system, and it's going to give you access to basically, again, more refinement, more customization, leveraging these softwares or these programs to help you rather than interfere or hinder your driving. So I think this is definitely the recommended way, especially if you have MagRide on your car, to utilize these menus when you're at the track and get the most of the software without it interfering and annoying you when you're trying to have fun with the car. Now, if you don't have MagRide, or even if you're not necessarily trying to access the performance traction management, in sport mode, you can access what's called competitive driving mode. And this is basically a similar mode to performance traction management with less of the customization options, but it's accessed a very similar way. And it's sort of confusing as far as how your car is equipped. Again, your options are going to be different whether you have MagRide or you don't. But if you don't have MagRide, you should be able to access this in sport or track. If you do have magnetic ride control, it should be just in sport. But you will access it the same way by double pressing the traction control button, bringing up the competitive driving mode. Now, competitive driving mode is great because it does still give you, again, some of the benefits of the stability control software. It does also give you access to launch control. So if you're going to be going to the drag strip, it's very important. Take your mode selector over to sport, double click the traction control button. It's going to launch your competitive drive mode. Now you have access to launch control. Competitive driving mode here is a good alternative for those of you that don't have MagRide, or you're looking for similar to the performance traction management where the system is a little more customized, give you some of the assistance when you need it, but not quite as much interference as if it's just fully on. So again, these modes can be really helpful, and I believe this is a much better route or approach if you're going to be taking your car to the track, whether it's a drag strip or road course, to leverage those softwares to help you increase your times, better your launches, rather than just turning them all off. So it's fun to talk about having unrestricted access to all the power of the car, but I think it's better to research these modes. But let me know what you guys think on these modes. I think that this is really interesting, and it is somewhat complex, I guess you could say, with so many options and so many different modes available. Just to kind of recap again, you've got a single press to turn off just traction control. You've got a press and hold to turn off stability control and traction control. You've got a double click or quickly press it twice to access either competitive driving mode or performance traction management, depending on whether you're in sport or track mode and whether or not your car is equipped with MagRide or not. Again, a lot of variables there. I would recommend you refer to the owner's manual if you're trying to use these modes, but I want to give you a general overview of them, make sure that you're aware that they're there to get the most out of your car. But within all these modes, I think that there's so many different benefits and advantages for those of us that do plan on taking the car to the track. I know for me, I don't plan on using any of these modes or especially turning off the assistance software on public roads. I more so am looking forward to possibly using these if I go to the driving school, offered to new Corvette owners. So again, these are all really good, valuable features of the car, but to be used at the appropriate time and make sure you understand the potential and the capabilities of the car. But let me know what your thoughts are. I look forward to hearing your feedback on this video. I have made something similar to this in the past for C7 Corvettes because it's a very similar setup. Obviously, want to do a quick update for all the new C8 Corvette owners out there and new Corvette enthusiasts that have joined this ecosystem since the C8 has brought in so much new attention. But hopefully you find the video helpful and get the most out of your car with it. Again, make sure you're being careful and that you only leverage these modes on a track. But look forward to talking to you guys in the comments below, and I appreciate you watching and all the feedback. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.